Welcome to Living Chassidus. Together, let's live the Chassidus we learn.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the Morning. 15 minutes to change our lives. Kuntres, we're up to Parak Adalad. Just a quick summary. We were saying, of course, in Parak Aleph, talking about what does it mean, shtus, and we said it's folly and it's turning aside, and really go together, and really it's coming from the Yetzer Hara. And on one hand, he comes and gets you to do something wrong, but then he comes and he's catching you, and he gets you in trouble for it. You understand how much the Yetzer Hara doesn't care for you. Then you have and just also a reminder that we're learning in the schus of all the Yidden Eretz Yisrael should have safety and security. If once for all finish the job, so they should live in peace, real peace. So that was the first parak. Then parak Beis, we said there's 3 types of pleasure. Well, there's 4. So that, but only 3 in parak Beis. There's the pleasure of food, which is very megushim. It's a very sort of baseline level pleasure, not the pleasure we should be striving for. Then the pleasure of music, which is much more edel, more spiritual. And there's the pleasure of we said of like chesed, of doing of the chesed of it's doing things that are more like, you know, natural or on a deeper level, like emotional things like this. But of course, we have to make sure to do it in the right way, not just giving because we like to give, but using it out to do the right thing, the beneficial thing. Like we're talking about Avraham, that he made this whole but just because he was kind, he didn't do it just because he was kind. He did it in order that he could publicize godliness in the world. And then in yesterday's parak, the last 2 days in parak Gimel, we talked about the highest level of pleasure, which is intellectual pleasure, and of course, making it sure it's in holy matters, not just base things that aren't so holy. Yeah, and that's what we said. And then we added also that even in learning Torah itself, when you learn Chassidus, it even makes you more edel, makes you more sensitive, more connected. And for many reasons, you just think about it. You're learning about godly things, like you're learning this, and it sure makes you more aware and less just megushim, less into the physicality, and more into like understanding what's above and beyond, what's better, what's higher. Perek Daled. Behold, another advantage we want to talk about. Another advantage of learning Torah, of learning specifically Chassidus. The advantage of learning Chassidus is it brings you to a love of Hashem and an awe of Hashem, fear of Hashem. In general, love and fear of something comes about through knowing about it. The more you know, the more you love. It's like a simple example that a person, let's say, is very much into a sport or into whatever it is. The more they know about it, the more they like it. Or in contrast, someone doesn't know about it. Let's say we're talking about, I don't know, baseball or American football. I'm not very knowledgeable growing up in Australia, so I don't really care about it. It doesn't get me. When you speak to a person that's really into it, he knows all the statistics and things like this, they love it. There's 2 ways of loving it. One is you love it because you love it, and then you learn about it. The other one is in order to love it more, you learn about it more. Now, when it comes to things like American football, it doesn't matter. People don't want to have a type for it. It comes, and so then you learn more. When it comes to Torah, and you have to overcome Yetzer Hara, if you want to love Hashem more, you got to understand Hashem. Just like a husband and wife, the more you know, the more you love. But if you don't know them, it's hard. The depth of love is less. And this is what we're saying here. You know, Chassidus, we're talking about God so much, you start to understand who God is, you start to love God more. This is what it says in Dvarim. Says in the pasuk, you should know today, you should put onto your heart, which means shemei v'leilev shalim, and knowing Hashem brings you to a complete heart. It says in the Kodesh, in the end of what it says in the letter in the Gersa Kodesh about understanding what it says in Priyat Chaim, and also in over there it talks about the mitzvah of learning Seder Ishtashlus. Because through learning Seder Ishtashlus, it's sort of learning God. And the more you learn God, the more you love God and it comes to know of God. We don't have to go at length on this whole point. But you need to know, learning about God, becoming connected with God, understanding what God is, how he runs the world, how it goes from Hashem's essence all the way to our physical world, the way it's not manifest in a revealed way. The more you know this, the more you learn about it, the more you connect with it, the better your life will be, the more Avos Hashem, the more Yisrael you'll have. And this should be all your desire, and this is what you're going for. This also will be the pleasure of your soul. Because this good is according to expansion with your level. And this comes to the whole purpose of why we were created. And that's the beauty of it. That when we learn Chassidus, and when we internalize it, and we understand God, and we connect with Him and bring us to an Avos Hashem, this is why we're here. To be in this physical world, with all the struggles and trials and tribulations of life in the physical world, and to be able to rise above it and connect to Hashem. And the only real way to do that is to learn Chassidus. Because you'll understand Hashem. And the more you understand Hashem, the more you can do all these things. Now we're going to contrast if what happened you don't. Which is not so. If you don't do all this, you don't try to learn Chassidus, you don't try to connect to Hashem, you're not trying to understand Hashem, you're not trying to build your Av and your own, but you're going the other way. Just about what it feels good. If it feels good, let me do it. Not just when you do it, when you go that way, in this negative way, you don't fulfill the purpose of why you were created. But on the contrary, you descend, you bring down your soul from its height, and from its essence, and from its specialness. And you bring it down to a level of like an animal, and really a low level. And it's such a beautiful vibe. But he's saying we got to realize. And it's like, okay, so I won't do it. So I won't connect. What's the big deal? What's the big deal? You got potential for greatness. You can connect to Hashem on the highest levels, and you're gonna sit there and do this. And this is like the challenge of life. Recognizing, and this is sort of what he's trying to show us. Recognize our job is to recognize our greatness. And once we recognize our greatness, then we won't go so. Then we're like, what am I doing? Why would I do that? But when we say to ourselves, yeah, I'm a nobody, I'm a nothing. What I do doesn't make a difference. So who cares what I do? So I'll go after the Dvarim Gashmim. I won't take care of myself. I won't care about the davening, care about the learning, care about what I eat, care about how I speak to people, how I speak to myself, how I live my life, get my job. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But that's a problem, and that comes from the lack of the learning Chassidus and internalizing the Chassidus and trying to build the Avos Hashem. And it's sad. And this is sort of the challenge we have that we don't recognize our greatness. And therefore, like we're saying here, that you go down to low level, even so you can say, oh, it's okay, so I'll be like an animal, whatever. Yeah, who cares? But it's worse than that, because animal has that's where it's meant to be. That's as far as it goes. But we can be great. We can be awesome. So it's like sad. And there's two issues. Now it's known that everything that we encounter, we connect with it. So now, if it's if it's an inanimate or like plant, vegetation, or an animal, and we're just doing it to just to have pleasure from it, we become like them. We connect to everything. So if we connect to the food, let's say, or connect to the clothing, or connect to the house, or whatever it is, just for itself, without any ulterior positive motivation, so then we're not getting anything. But if we're using it for good, I'm eating this food, why? So I'll have the strength to have a good day and a positive day and productive day, and I'll learn and I'll daven and I'll be nice to my friends and I'll have a good time at work and I'll make good money and be able to give tzedakah and things like this. So then you elevate everything. But if you're not, you become like those things. But even worse, like it says in the brackets, even lower than them, because you're receiving from them. And what are you receiving? This pleasure from them. You're using them for fulfilling your pleasures. So we go down from the highest level, which we are the medaber, the speakers, meaning the highest level of creation, to these lower levels, whether it's inanimate, vegetation, or animal, but we go down the level. This is the Lord descent, like we said before. We're meant to be going up, connecting even higher. We're meant to our tainu should be with learning Torah and connecting to spirituality. But here, when we're making our pleasure with these physical things, for that, then we're lowering ourselves. That's the first issue. And the second issue, because of our specialness, that we are so choicest. We are the specialist. Therefore, when you go down, it's even worse. Because when your soul goes down, that it goes drawn after these low things, that's how you find your pleasure. You're not finding your pleasure in learning and Torah and mitzvahs and ruchnias. You're finding your pleasure in the physical things. You become worse than the animal. Because it doesn't know anything better. But we have a seichel, we have a mind and intellect. We can understand things. We can appreciate holy things, great things. Even more so, like we said in the Parak Aleph, the guy asked about mutalach, who misses asi deraisa, that we should sanctify ourselves, and it's a positive mitzvah to do this. Therefore, when we do something physical just for the sake of the enjoyment of it, you go down to complete evil. And for that moment, like we said back then, until you go back to serving Hashem, like it says in Tanya, Perek Zayin, now Perek Aleph, and we said in the beginning, Perek Aleph. So what we're saying is, and this is an important realization, we got to recognize how great we are, and we got to recognize that, and therefore, when we recognize that greatness, we will be pulled away from wanting to do these things. But when we don't recognize our greatness, so then we can fall trapped to these things. And it's like, what's the big deal? It's meaning like this. Think about it this way: you have a Olympic athlete. Nowadays, I don't know too much. I've sort of gone away from learning all these things, but from what I understand, they're very careful the way they eat, the way they sleep, their regimen, like take care of themselves properly. Why? Why don't you sit down, have a break, just go eat some pizza, drink some beer, whatever, and relax? Why have to work so hard? Because they understand that they have the potential to be the best, to be one of the top people in their fields, in their whatever sport it is. And they understand that they have to put in all this effort. And we have to be the same way. We have to recognize we are Olympic athletes in Torah mitzvahs and connecting to Hashem. We have the potential for the greatness. And it's like them. They don't come and sit there and they say, oh, it's so annoying. I can't drink my Coca-Cola and I can't eat whatever I want. I can't go to sleep whenever I want. They appreciate it because that's giving them the potential for what they see. This is my shlichus, so to speak, lahavdil, is be the best soccer player. So for me to do that, I need to take care of these things. And it's not a diminishing or down or making a problem. This is why I'm here. And they enjoy it because they understand that helps them be the best they can be. And we have to realize the same thing. We have potential to be the best of the best when it comes to Torah mitzvahs, and it comes to Hashem. And we got to recognize that. And when we recognize that, so we say, hey, it's So what do I need to do to be the best of the best? Well, I can't sit there and just run after taivas. My pleasure in life. What is my pleasure? What do I get a geschmack out of? By learning something, by connecting with someone, by listening to a Rebbe story, by reading Sipurei Tzadikim, or whatever, all these kosher books we have out there nowadays, or Loni Chitas, or is it by watching a movie, or eating some ice cream. Again, you can eat ice cream. No one's stopping you from eating ice cream. But we have to understand why we're doing it and how is it benefiting us, and is it helping us be the best that we can be? And that's what we're saying. We'll just finish off this little bit. And he says not just where you're going a lower level than an animal, even becomes lower than an impure animal. As we're going to explain. Therefore, gets you, confuses you. And this is all from the Yetzer Hara, and it's a big shtus. That turns us away from the path of truth, Batzedek, and the righteous, and the proper path. And it confuses you, clouds your eyes. You can't see the truth. It makes you walk around darkness. You're like, oh, but it tastes so good, but it feels so good. But I want to stay up. It's fun. And it's like, and you forget. And every morning you wake up, you're exhausted. You say, tomorrow I'm going to go to bed. Tonight I'm going to go to bed super early. And then comes super late. Just one more swipe on the phone or whatever that thing is. Whatever it is for us. And this is we have to realize it's coming from Yetzer Hara. We'll finish it off. We'll finish off the next little bit, the end of this parak. And with that, we'll finish the first Maimer. Beautiful. Okay, everyone should have an amazing Shabbos. Everyone should recognize, the Ferengen on Shabbos should be recognizing the greatness that we have and feeling it that way. And amidst Hashem, by all of us, when we see that, then automatically all these concealments, Yetzer Hara will go away. Have an amazing Shabbos.
Thank you.